Hi, hello. My name is Michael Porteous. I'm the Product Manager for Learning Technologies in Australian Higher Education. Welcome to this webinar on MyLab Transition, where we'll be showing you the benefits of using Pearson's new MyManagementLab and MyMarketingLab. This should only take about 15 to 20 minutes, but I hope that this will impart not just what the MyLab can do, but how it can be effectively integrated into your teaching to achieve measurable results. So I've left everyone on mute for the time being, so if you're wondering why you can't talk, so I can move through this presentation quite quickly. But I appreciate that you'll have questions along the way, so please use the webinar chat system to ask any questions, and at the end of the presentation I'm going to answer as many of those questions as I can. So just quickly check the chat system, and any questions you have along the way, please just enter them as we go along. So firstly, what is the new MyLab and how is it different from previous Pearson technologies, and what can it really do for you? So the new MyLab for Robbins Management 7E and Armstrong Marketing 6E are not just a glorified test bank as many class technologies are. When we designed these MyLabs, we started from the ground up creating something that fits your course needs as best we can. Pearson Australia has done extensive course outline research across the nation, along with in-depth interviews and surveys with instructors. And this has given us a set of learner outcomes that reflect common themes and trends in first-year marketing and management. And these are the foundations for the entire product offerings and align with the book and the MyLab technology as well. The result is something that we stand behind as an effective learning and teaching tool. The same experience runs across all of our business subjects and will help your students achieve understanding of underpinning discipline content as well as professional business skills. The system features also promote greater academic success, improve retention, and is backed up by easy-to-use course management features. So knowing this, let's delve into the learner experience to see how your students will be able to achieve improved results in understanding using the MyLabs. The MyLabs for Marketing Management have three key benefits for students. Personalised learning, motivation, and engagement are the three things that really shine through when they use our MyLabs. So, personalised learning has become a major differentiator in student success. In our MyLab, students have access to diagnostic tests that will then populate a personalised study plan which directs them to the exact learning objectives they need to master. So here's an example of what happens here. So the students will do tests and it will form which sections of the book, which objectives they need to work on. They can practice those as many times as they want, and then they can quiz themselves to make sure that they're mastering that objective. And this then moves them through all the learning objectives in the book and make sure that they master everything if they want to get that in depth with it. But not only that, it provides help at the point of learning, not later when they get an assignment back. So they get answer-specific feedback, and they also get hints and links to appropriate learning resources to help diagnose misconceptions and build the learner's understanding when they need it most, when they're actually doing the task rather than later. So here we've got an example of a hint that students can access to make sure that they're getting some level of help before they answer. And here's an example of some of the feedback. It's not just right or wrong, it's not just see this page in the textbook. We're making sure that we're really giving them an idea about why they chose that answer and why that might be wrong. So we're trying to address those misconceptions they might have and build better understanding as we go. The MyLab also provides an adaptive learning experience called dynamic study modules. These have been developed using brain science research. What it does is test the student's knowledge, provides robust feedback that enhances their learning experience, and then it learns what the students need to work on and feeds them new sets of questions. And these adapt continually, each set upon set, to the student's unique experience. And make sure it feeds them questions that they need to learn and understand, but it also makes sure that they're testing what they've already mastered to make sure that they're continually embedding that knowledge and making sure they didn't just guess their way through. So over time, this just continually reinforces and adapts to what the students really need to know. And to add to the online engagement, Our new MyLabs are mobile friendly through your browser and dedicated apps for some of the features as well. So that opens up a whole new range of ways that students can engage with our systems. So keeping students motivated can also be quite a challenge, especially those in the transition from high school to university in that first year. So Pearson's MyLab provides ways to keep students engaged inside and outside the classroom with motivation tools and an easy-to-use interface. So this, for instance, is the homepage dashboard. So your students know the progress through their MyLab course at any given time, and it gives them a sense of progress and ownership of their learning as well. So we can see here the students know what assignments are coming up, where they are on a little calendar. They know their overall score, their course timeline. That bar there represents a mastery level, which you can actually adjust up or down. It shows how far they're through their homework, quizzes, study plan, and any announcements you might want to put there as well. So this really gives them that sense of ownership of what they're doing. We've also recently included a series of badges or achievements. So students, as they work through the MyLab, can get these achievements. So here it shows the recent achievements of this student. They've earned 100% on their simulations test. They've performed a browser check, making sure that their browser runs correctly, making sure that we're getting through all those technical problems. They've completed their first homework assignment. And we've got a whole list of different achievements that students can get. Some of them want to collect more of them. It gives them a sense of goal and a sense of moving forward and achieving new things as they go along. Some students will really get engaged with this particular section. So engagement. Now, without engaging content, it can be a real uphill battle trying to get the attention of your students. Now, this is where the MyLab provides you and your students with a diverse range of rich media, including case videos around the world, local case videos as well, interactive decision-making simulations, and up-to-date blogs written by subject matter experts that are relevant to you and your students. And all of these sections can be assigned, so you can make sure you can track that students are doing them as well, while keeping them engaged. So this will engage your students with current, real-life, and application-based learning. Now, speaking of engagement, how do you engage students in the classroom? What captures and holds their attention? What makes them come to class? How do you even measure engagement and learning in a classroom situation? To help with this classroom engagement and learning aspect, our MyLabs now come with a bring-your-own-device student engagement and assessment system called Learning Catalytics. This gives you the tools to promote active learning and peer learning in a classroom setting. So using Learning Catalytics in your classroom, rather than students sitting back and expecting to have content pushed at them, they can expect class to be interesting, challenging, and it'll make them think and interact and really want to be there to be part of that. We've already seen significant increases to attendance and student interest in face-to-face teaching around the world using this system. So we do, however, realise that learners, especially in the first year, are not as independent as we might like them to be. You also might have extremely large courses, perhaps having less face-to-face time as more aspects of your teaching are moved online. So these challenges can be more manageable with the Pearson MyLab, providing you with a simple and supported solution. So three of the key benefits that you as an instructor get from our MyLabs include streamlined course delivery and marking, easy and insightful data analytics, and engaging experience for you and your students. So MyMarketingLab and MyManagementLab make delivering learning activities for formative or summative assessment really simple and easy. To begin with, all Pearson MyLabs integrate with all major learning management systems. It provides a single sign-on experience for students, allowing single-click access from your course to our systems without the student even noticing. It even allows Gradebook synchronization from our Gradebook to your LMS Gradebook as well. So this area is fully catered for. So all your students will need is an access code. They need a course ID from when you set up the course initially so they can enroll into the course. Or alternatively, we can work with your faculty to implement a fully integrated system where students are automatically enrolled into the correct subject based off the LMS information, taking away nearly all the enrollment administration tasks of the MyLab. Now, the MyLabs also make creating learning tasks simple with a 3-step process. First of all, you create your assignments for formative or summative assessment, or even a writing assignment that allows streamlined rubric-based marking, peer review, plagiarism checking through Turnitin as well. And then you decide how this links with the study plan or other assessments. Second part is choosing relevant and engaging content from our library. So this content includes more traditional multiple choice questions, but also media assignments with decision-making simulations, engaging case videos, and all content is tagged to AACSB standards and learning objectives in the book. It also all revolves around those key learning outcomes that I mentioned before that instructors like yourselves have told us is highly important to your teaching. So just going back quickly, you can see here you can break things down by the chapter, the particular learning objective. You can view all of our questions by the AACSB standards instead if that's more important to how you create your assignments. Show our public questions. You can assign those dynamic study modules. You can also customize your own questions or create your own questions as well if you need to in our system. And this just shows how easy it is to add questions. You can click on the question to open it and view it and see if you like it or not, and then you simply tag it, add it to your assignment, assign the points that you want, and we've just divided here between more traditional questions and media-based questions as well. So you can assign those videos, you can assign the simulations and so on, or you can assign multiple choice or different types of questions that are a bit more traditional there. And the third part is you can set a range of parameters on how students engage with the assignment, how they're marked and how they're delivered. So we've got here availability, when the students can see it, when it's due, what happens if they submit it late, do you give partial credit, access controls. There's actually more options that go off the screen here I couldn't fit. So we really give you a whole wide range of being able to decide how you want your students to interact with this based on your particular course needs. So the data and analytics abilities of our MyLabs are also a key part of a solution that allows you maximum visibility into your students' performance and your own teaching in an easy to use and simple way. So the Gradebook in our MyLab does much more than just store the marks from their assignments. It also allows you multiple reports that at a couple of mouse clicks gives you insight into your class as a whole or insight into individual students right down to every answer they submit to the system. So here we can see that you can get overview by the student, you can see how they're doing in the study plan, you can see their performance by the chapter in the book or their performance by the AACSB standard as well. You also notice here that if there's students that are inactive, that are not engaging in the system, you can very quickly see who those students are. You can send them an email, you can contact them in other ways, you can make sure that you're engaging with those students. And also any writing assignments will pop up here and let you know what needs grading if you choose to use those. This is an example of looking at the student overview by student, and each of these links you can drill down into the exact assignment that student's done to see exactly what they answered. So the level of granularity is massive if you choose to go in that deep. We've also got a lot of visual-based reporting here. So here we can see multiple courses that they're running, and they can quickly see how their students are doing at a glance, whether they're getting really good marks, whether they're doing middling marks, or whether they're not achieving the sort of mastery that you expect. Not only that, you can also see how students are doing, how long they're spending on task. So what time on task they've got compared to how well they're doing the assignment. So you can see if that assignment's too hard, too easy, and you can also view it by student and see where they are sitting with all those assignments. Are they spending a long time and getting very poor marks? Are they spending a long time getting good marks, or they're not spending much time at all and getting very good marks, which might be a flag for potential cheating? So this can really help you see which concepts your students might be struggling with, provides defensible grading, and allows you a tool for finding struggling students early enough to intervene before they drop out and become a lack of retention statistic. So as I mentioned before, Pearson MyLabs now include a solution to engaging students in the classroom. So Learning Catalytics is a bring-your-own-device system that allows you to ask complex, conceptual questions in class and have your students answer in real time. And this goes far beyond the traditional clicker systems, as it provides you with a pedagogy to drive active learning and peer learning in a lecture, tutorial, or even online with a range of different modes. So the feedback students give from answers and the voluntary interactivity they have with the system will allow you to change the way you teach from just static content delivery to dynamic and different experiences with better outcomes that will really make your students want to come and attend your lectures and tutorials. So here we can see an example of how this question might look on their mobile phone. They can also use it on their laptop or tablet. You can see that you can do multiple rounds, so you can make sure that you go asking the question, seeing if they're improving based on feedback. You can even see where the students in the classroom are answering and who's answering. So everything's tracked. All the data is tracked as well. So you can go back and make sure that you can see what students are struggling with, and you can also see what's working and what's not, how effective your teaching is in that lecture if you choose to go into that detail. And I also mentioned that this is much more versatile than a clicker system. Oh, sorry, before that, these are the different modes as well. You can do the instructor-led synchronous system, which is much more like a regular lecture. Self-paced online delivery, self-test. You can even divide into team-based assessments using Learning Catalytics. And there are 18 different question types. So it's not just multiple choice. There are lots of different ways you can engage with students in your tutorials or lectures to ask different and interesting types of questions. So I hope that you have an appreciation of what the Pearson MyLabs might be able to do for you and your students. However, no tool can produce a measurable outcome without being used properly. So when implementing a MyLab into your teaching, I would strongly encourage you to look for our MyLab best practices that have provided the best results for millions of users around the world. See, Pearson is in the business of proving the efficacy of our products so that you can be confident in using them, and we can offer more insights into how to make the most of our technology in your teaching. So with our collected evidence and stories from successful MyLab implementations around the world, we can offer you a few critical insights that can help. And we understand that every class is going to be different and going to require a slightly different way of implementation. And we want to make sure that we're helping you achieve that with best practice so you can be confident that you're going to get a good result. So knowing this, you might be wondering how you can do this, what help you can get. How does Pearson support you when you have a new technology and possible changes on how you deliver your course? So we're really aware that change can be difficult and you have a huge amount of responsibilities that you're trying to balance as an academic. So it's really in Pearson's best interest to make sure that you and your students are fully supported so we can see those measurable learning improvements from your students and making sure that you're making your teaching more efficient and simple. So to help with this, Pearson have dedicated teams ready to support your transition. We have field-based consultants and learning technology managers that are on campus and can help you. We have office-based customer experience team who deliver personalised training and pedagogical help in the implementation. We have IT specialists who work with your IT teams at the university to make sure that we're getting good LMS integration. And we even have a dedicated team of local technical support for academics and students. So if you're having any technical difficulties, you can just call up and get help straight away. Not only this, we have a 24/7 support website, so even out of office hours, you can be able to get technical support when you need it, or a student might have a problem when they're doing an assignment at 2 a.m. in the morning, there's someone there that can help them. So Pearson really want to provide services to make sure that everything runs smoothly for you and your student. So I hope that's given you some insight into what the new MyLabs for Marketing and Management can do for you and your students, giving you maybe some ideas about how it could fit into your teaching for best effect. So you might have some questions now. I'm going to answer as many as I have time for. I'm just going to open up the question pane here, one moment. So yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know now. I'll just wait to see if anyone's got any questions here that they might want to ask. Okay, I've got a question asking about the price. I thought that one would come up. So the price of the MyLabs are $39.95 for students if they buy it standalone on their own, and that's it. But there's also a range of different ways that they can purchase this. So the most value is if they purchase it within a textbook where we wrap a code with the book, and that adds an extra maybe $10 onto the cost of the book, but it gives them access to all of the MyLab system and an ebook as well. So they get a massive benefit for buying the book on its own, but we can also sell this institutionally at a discount to your school as well if you want to make sure that every student has access. Okay, is there any other questions, guys? Oh, here we go. I'm just going to pull out one moment while I pull out these questions and get a bit of a look at them. Okay, so we've got one question here. How can this work with longer assessments like essays? Does it integrate with Turnitin submissions and Grademark? Yes, so the sort of MCQ and the media assignments that you can set will be able to link up with your learning management system as more traditional assessments. But I did mention very briefly in there a system called the writing space, which is where we give a writing assignment system where they can input their essays, as you say, and this links up with Turnitin, which I believe most universities use in their LMS as well. So there's simply a button you click which sends it off to Turnitin, and you get all those same Turnitin functionality. And what it allows is a streamlined rubric-based marking. So you can simply, we have some rubrics that we've already set up, but you can also change those to how you see fit. And you've got a simple slider bar where you can choose, between 1 and 5 how well you think a student did on that particular aspect of the assignment. And not only that, you can then adjust the final grade, and you can fiddle around with that too. You can also add inline comments, so you can comment back to the student. And there's a really cool peer learning mode as well, where you can make sure that students send out their essay to the rest of the students, and they have to mark those using that rubric as well. So it gets them a chance to assess other students' work and see what they're doing, and put that marking hat on and how they would view that as well. So that's a really interesting way of doing it too. So yeah, all that essay stuff can be done as well. Grademark, I'm not sure about that. I think that's a LMS system which does a similar sort of thing. We can definitely get our field-based consultants to compare those side by side, see what works for you. Thank you very much for that question. Got another one here. Okay, we've got a question. How can the analytics tools be used to support distance students who aren't in face-to-face classes? Yeah, so distance teaching is a big challenge, I think, for everyone. I think some of those analytics can definitely help in that regard, and sometimes you might need to go a bit more in depth to them. So in terms of the analytics that the MyLab system and the assignments can do, if you're setting regular assessments and you're making sure that you're getting them to engage in that, then you can pretty easily see how they're doing using our Gradebook functionality. So I think that getting students to do regular assessments and making sure that you're structuring that alongside what you're teaching, the content and the structure of your course, you can very quickly go in after assignments and see how those students are doing. And I believe you can group them up into different areas as well to make sure that you're looking at your online students and seeing how they're doing and whether they're engaging. But also using some of those visual aspects, you can see how much time they're spending and a whole bunch of other information. So it really depends on how you're structuring it, but you'll definitely be able to see a lot of information about how they're interacting. If you're using Learning Catalytics, though, you can set up online modes there, and a lot of that data is also included there. So it's a matter of how you want to use that data, I guess. And I think that's something that we'd be wanting to speak to you more personally about how you structure that course. But because there's this level of granularity, but there's also this overview level of how your students are doing, you can delve and sift into that on how you want to really understand what your students are learning. I hope that makes sense. If you've got any follow-up on that, just let me know. See if there's any other questions. This is a great question. If you have tutors teaching, can they see and interact with only their assigned students? So it depends on how you set up the course. So if you just lump everyone into the one big course, which is the more traditional way of doing it, your tutors could go in, but they'd have to sift through the different students and find out which ones are theirs in their tutorial. However, we've got a few people that are doing some interesting things where they're creating what's called a coordinator course, which is a single course that you as the first year coordinator would set up, and then they divide that, they create little member courses which are copies of that master course, that are based on the individual tutorials that the students are doing. So that way you can give the power to your tutor to look into that particular member course, or sometimes they've got a pod mothership and the pods that go off it. And they get to look into just the students that are associated with their particular tutorial. I think that's a really interesting way of doing it because it really gives them the power, and you can delegate out the management of that face-to-face teaching time in the tutorials to your tutors or your teaching instructors to make sure they've got absolute visibility into their particular class only. So I think that's a really interesting way of doing it, and I think that's a very good way of doing it as well, because you get more granularity of detail and more face-to-face and personalised learning for your students. And any changes that you make to that mothership course flow down into all the member courses, so you get an easy way of managing the structure of the content. Okay, any more questions, guys? I'll just give a moment longer to see if there's anybody else that wants to ask. Okay, so thank you very much for all those questions. I hope this has given you a bit more insight into the details that you needed. I just wanted to close by thanking you all for your time and interest. It's been a real pleasure to run this session, give you a sense of Pearson's commitment to the learner and the educator. So what we'll be doing is we'll be following up with you with an email to the recording of this webinar and further information if you'd like to share it with your colleagues. If there's any questions that are coming in after this, I think I just saw another one, what I'll do is I'll answer that in the follow-up email for everybody else to see as well. So keep asking questions if I've missed you, sorry, and I'll make sure that we get back to you with a text reply as well. So you should also expect to be contacted by one of our consultants soon, and make sure that we can personally address your course needs and see if a MyLab solution would work for you. But if you've got any urgent requests, if something really needs to be looked after straight away, please contact marketing@pearson.com.au and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you very much for this, guys, and have a great day.